You want to change your life in 2025. Here's the truth. Most of us don't need more noise, more opinions, or more advice. We need silence. We need focus. Focus on yourself, because the second you start pouring your energy into proving someone wrong, you've already lost. Silence is not weakness. It's strategy. The loudest person in the room is usually the most insecure, but the one who stays silent, they're building, they're growing, they're winning in private. Focus on yourself in 2025, because the truth is most of what you've been chasing isn't really about you. It's about them, their opinions, their approval, their validation. And every time you bend yourself to fit into someone else's expectations, you lose a piece of who you are. This year, you don't need to run after validation. You need to run after growth. You need to reclaim your energy, redirect it inward, and start building something that is yours, not theirs. Silence is not about weakness. It's about strength. It's about discipline. It's about understanding that you don't need to answer every critic. You don't need to clap back at every insult. You don't need to justify every move. The loudest people in the room aren't always the strongest. They're often the most insecure, the ones desperate for attention, desperate for control. The quiet one, the one who holds their tongue, who refuses to waste breath on meaningless battles, that's the one who's in control. That's the one who has the advantage. The less you explain, the less you argue, the more energy you keep for yourself. Think about how much time you've wasted trying to explain yourself to people who already made up their minds. Think about the hours you've lost defending your choices to people who weren't even invested in your success. In 2025, you don't owe explanations. You owe yourself focus. Every word you waste on convincing someone else is energy stolen from your progress. Every time you argue, every time you defend, you hand over the most valuable currency you own, your focus. When you stop feeding distractions and start feeding your goals, something shifts. People start to notice. They don't notice because you told them to notice. They notice because they can't ignore the results. You don't need to brag about what you're doing. You don't need to post every detail online. You don't need to broadcast every single step, because when you move in silence, you protect your vision from the opinions that could kill it before it even grows. You want to win this year. Stop explaining. Stop justifying. Stop broadcasting. Let the results speak for you. When people see results, they don't ask questions. Results are undeniable. You don't have to argue with results. And here's the thing, silence is uncomfortable at first, because silence feels like you're not defending yourself. It feels like you're not being heard. It feels like people are getting away with misunderstanding you. But that's not the truth. The truth is silence isn't you losing. Silence is you choosing. Choosing where to place your energy. Choosing what deserves your response and what doesn't. Choosing what actually matters and what never did. Focus on yourself, not on their opinions, not on their expectations, not on their timelines. Focus on your own lane. You cannot run your race while staring at someone else's track. You cannot move forward while you're constantly turning your head to see who's watching. Focus is about discipline. Focus is about boundaries. Focus is about saying, I don't care who's clapping. I don't care who's criticizing. I'm not running for them. I'm running for me. In 2025, the people who win are not the loudest. They're not the flashiest. They're the ones who worked in silence. They're the ones who refused to waste time explaining. They're the ones who took that energy and reinvested it back into themselves. That's how you build strength. That's how you build consistency. That's how you build a life that doesn't just look good to others, but feels good to you. Every time you resist the urge to argue, you grow stronger. Every time you resist the urge to explain, you protect your peace. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you take back control. And in that silence, you can hear yourself more clearly. You can hear your goals. You can hear your intuition. You can hear the voice inside you that's been drowned out by the noise of everyone else. Focus and silence are partners. Focus gives you direction. Silence gives you strength. Together, they create results that can't be ignored. In 2025, stop chasing the applause. Stop chasing the argument. Stop chasing the approval. Start chasing the vision. Start chasing the consistency. Start chasing the version of yourself that doesn't need to be explained to anyone. Stay silent this year, because not every move you make deserves an audience. Not every decision you take needs to be explained. Not every dream you carry has to be announced. Silence protects you. Silence shields you. Silence keeps your vision alive until it's strong enough to stand on its own. Not every move needs an announcement. Not every insult deserves a reply. You don't have to show the world your blueprint before the foundation is even poured. You don't have to defend your plans to people who are too distracted with their own lives to truly care. Announcing too soon opens the door for doubt, for criticism, for opinions that weaken your drive before you've even started. Silence keeps you safe from that. Silence gives you space to grow in private. When you choose silence, you're not choosing weakness, you're choosing wisdom. You're saying, I don't need to prove anything right now. I don't need to argue. I don't need to fight for validation. Because when the time is right, results will speak louder than anything I could ever say. That's the power of silence. It turns your energy inward. It transforms your focus. It makes you unstoppable. Silence protects your peace, and focus protects your growth. Think about how many times you've let someone steal your peace just because you felt the need to respond. One comment, one insult, one piece of negativity. And suddenly your whole day is gone. Not because they had power over you, but because you gave it to them with your reaction. Silence takes that power back. Silence says, you don't control me. You don't get to dictate my energy. You don't get to distract me from what I'm building. Focus protects your growth. You cannot grow if you're scattered. You cannot grow if you're constantly explaining yourself. You cannot grow if every move is interrupted by noise. Growth requires consistency. Growth requires discipline. Growth requires tunnel vision. And tunnel vision can't exist if you're too busy looking left and right, responding to everyone who calls your name. In 2025, the most powerful thing you can do is stay locked in, eyes forward, energy inward, no wasted motion. In 2025, your greatest power is in what you build quietly and reveal only when it's complete. Because here's the truth. People don't always want to see you win. Some are waiting for you to fail. Some are silently hoping you don't make it. And when you broadcast your every move, you give them the playbook. You give them the chance to tear it apart before you even finish the first page. But when you move in silence, no one can sabotage what they don't know about. No one can stop what they can't see. Building in silence is not about hiding. It's about protecting. Protecting your ideas. Protecting your vision. Protecting your growth until it's strong enough to stand without the weight of outside opinions. Think of a seed in the ground. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream, I'm growing. It grows quietly, unseen, protected by the soil. And only when it's ready does it break through the surface and show itself. That's the power of silence. You grow in private, so when you appear in public, you're undeniable. Not every insult deserves a reply. Because the truth is, most people aren't insulting you because of who you are. They're insulting you because of who they are. Their words reflect their insecurity, not your reality. And when you reply, when you clap back, when you argue, you lower yourself to their level. You give them what they want, your attention. But silence starves them. Silence denies them the reaction they were desperate for. Silence reminds them that you are too focused, too disciplined, too unshaken to be pulled into their chaos. Not every move needs an announcement. Because announcements don't build credibility, results do. Announcements don't build respect. Consistency does. Announcements don't create success. Discipline does. And when you hold your moves close, when you guard your progress, you create an element of surprise. People underestimate you. They think you're not moving. They think you're not growing. They think you're not building. And then one day, you show up with results that can't be ignored, results that shut down every critic without a single word spoken. Silence is strategy. Silence is self-control. Silence is strength. It is knowing that your energy is too valuable to waste. It is knowing that your vision is too important to risk. It is knowing that your growth is too sacred to share with people who won't understand it. Silence is not about retreat. Silence is not about weakness. Silence is about elevation. It is about knowing the difference between what deserves your words and what doesn't. In 2025, the loudest person in the room will not win. The most disciplined one will. The one who stayed silent long enough to focus. The one who stayed consistent long enough to grow. The one who didn't announce every step but revealed the final product. That's the one people will respect. That's the one who will inspire. That's the one who will stand out, not because of noise, but because of results.